Amy Perry breathed in the green smell of a fading summer evening and watched the last of the day's sunshine disappear behind Roton Hall, the 18th century stately home that stood tall and proud beyond the village of Roton in Arden. Shards of pinkish light bathed the building's vast slate-grey roof, illuminating its array of chimneys. As its picturesque sandstone front was plunged into shadow, the copse of trees beyond its lawns suddenly felt dense and dim. Amy shivered slightly in the growing gloom, shifting the position of her back against her favoured old elm tree, and realising that it probably would have been smart to head home half an hour ago. Gran would go spare if she popped her head into Amy's room and discovered she wasn't there. Technically, Amy shouldn't be here at all, either with or without permission from her legal guardian. While the Ainsworth family, owners of this land as well as pretty much everything else within a 5-mile radius, were happy for people to walk through the little wood during daylight hours, the gate was closed at night and a sign warned that trespassers would be prosecuted. Amy couldn't help a derisive snort at this. It wasn't like she'd done any harm by sitting here watching the sun go down, leafing through the latest NME and putting away most of a packet of ginger nuts. Besides, how much wealth and property did one family really need exclusive access to? As someone who'd spent much of her childhood in a 2-bedroom flat with no garden, Amy had little sympathy with attempts to restrict her access to this spot. The copse was her favourite place in Roton, partly because she knew her dad had loved it too. He'd once confessed that, unbeknown to Gran, he'd regularly sneaked out on nights when his teenage head was too full of noise to sit still. Amy found it comforting to think of them both seeking solace in the same secret routine at different times, then creeping home undetected. They had moved in with Gran when Dad's doctors explained that, while treatment might keep him comfortable, there was nothing more they could do for him. Though Gran's help had been a huge relief, the culture shock had hit 16-year-old Amy hard. Coming to Roton had felt like stepping into a Jane Austen novel, and weirdest of all was the presence of an actual, real-life lord of the manor, Roger Ainsworth, a.k.a. Viscount Waverley. A member of the House of Lords, he liked to be addressed by his full title and kept a determined distance from the commoners, many of whose homes he owned. Amy fished in her bag for a final biscuit, and a familiar voice cut through the quiet air as she closed her fingers around it. "Got any more of those?" She jumped in surprise, dropping it into the dry, dusty grass. "Ah!" Sam Ainsworth, owner of the voice and heir to the very ground Amy was currently sitting on, flopped down next to her. He angled his elbows behind him and slouched back to look up at the deep navy sky. "No, I haven't," Amy said, willing herself to sound cool and unflustered by his sudden appearance. "That was the last one, and you shouldn't creep up on people like that. You should wear a bell, like the ones people put around cats' necks to stop them killing birds." He grinned at her, his white teeth flashing in the shadows. "Well, you shouldn't be out here by yourself," he retorted. "It's dark. You never know who might be hanging around." "Apparently not," said Amy. "I suppose you're going to head home now and dial 999 since I'm breaking his lordship's rules, or find a footman to throw me off the premises." Sam threw his head back and laughed, and Amy averted her eyes from his long, lightly tanned throat.